And here we go. Hey, RK Cedar.
Wow.
Well, we got three people now on. So,
Lord. All right then.
hey, Ken. Good afternoon, everybody. I guess the first thing to start with is SN9 was launched earlier, and the flight was perfect until they tried to land. And from a quick look at the video of the flip, it looks like they only got one engine to light, not two that they needed to actually make the landing successful. So, but they did get a launch off and it did work well up until that point. So, I think once they solve the engine problems, which will probably be next week.
Take everything you learned from studying this one,
Yep.
plug it into SN10 and light that candle.
Well, SN10 was sitting right next to it. So they'll go over and go, yeah, okay, that'll buff out.
Now that's the way you do it is every time you have a rapid unscheduled disassembly event,
Yep.
you study what caused it, plug it into the next one and send it.
Yeah, Jesse, I'm not sure whether she was shedding bits or not. I watched it, but I wasn't sure. I know the second engine didn't light, and they do need two to actually get it slowed down enough. But yeah, they'll figure out what it is and they'll fix it and go on.
Like in hours.
Yeah, as opposed to the years that it used to take back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, people don't remember. Yeah, yeah, it shows the size of their balls. Yeah, they've got the other one sitting right there next to it when they land it. This is true. But I'm old enough to remember when we went through all this the first time around under Kennedy and later Johnson. And yeah, oh shit is right, Jonna.
Well, you know that Elon Musk is standing there with his fist on his hips going, all right,
yeah,
let's try this again.
Yeah, but I can remember the number of times that the Atlas and the Centaur blew up on the pad or blew the pad out of existence at 39A, and the number of problems they had with the Saturn engines blowing up in testing. So this is nothing new. The only thing that, well, there is something very new, and that is the fact they're not waiting a year between launches. They're going, okay, fine, we got a problem, we got the telemetry, fix it, go forth next week.
Plug it into the next iteration, let's go.
Yep. The other sad bit
of that's how you get to Mars.
Yeah. The other really sad bit of news is the fact that two FBI agents were killed this morning in Miami. Yeah, Vanguard program. Oh God, yes, Louise, Vanguard. Oh, that was one that the Army was going, did we have to buy this, really?
The Vanguard?
Yeah. But two FBI agents were killed in Miami this morning serving a warrant on a child pornographer. Three others were shot.
Miami's rough on FBI agents.
Yeah, it's seems like the only place they seem to get killed. 86 and 2002 was another incident down there, and now this one.
I don't understand why the U.S. Marshals are good at serving warrants.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the FBI can't get to their heads that, oh, we have a warrant, yay, hand it to U.S. Marshals and let them serve it.
Yeah. Well, it's fiefdoms.
I know.
Yeah. The same thing it always is.
I know.
Yeah, up through 15's already in the pipe, Jesse. The other thing is we have a request from one of our listeners.
Who apparently doesn't like my blood pressure at all.
To talk about the professor at UC California, Riverside.
Not Berkeley?
Not Berkeley this time.
Kind of amazed.
Jane Ward, who is a professor of gender and sexuality studies and a self-described lesbian.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, who says that heterosexual relationships are inherently bad for people and their interpersonal relationships because they highlight inequality. Uh, she went on to say that by appearances, men and women don't actually like each other.
From the several thousand years of children being begotten, I'd say that there's some liking in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's called procreation of the species.
Well, for a professor, somebody seems to skip the biology part where nature doesn't care if you like each other as long as you don't have to survive as long as the species does.
Yeah. Jonna says she's not getting laid. And that blew up Ian. Oh, God.
Oh, I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I had a complete witty, and I completely lost it.
Oh, Cedar says she's one of those who believes PIV is rape. And Shauna says, thank you for not breeding. Point.
I don't understand the equality thing. This screaming urge for equality and everything, even where equality is not possible, is really baffling to me.
It's a lot of this.
It highlights inequality. Well, it's the world.
Yeah.
Shit's unequal. Deal with it.
Well, a lot of this goes back to, much as I hate to say it, the whole women in combat thing. Yeah. And Cedar says, and she believes that no woman can actually consent, which says volumes about how much she actually likes women. Yeah, you do have a point there.
I'm actually going to mention something I haven't checked out for myself. I saw a study posted by somebody else that said that the Olympic record in women's 100-meter sprint would be a pretty good high school boys 100-meter sprint in Texas.
That's about right.
Your average high school boy can outrun a female Olympic sprinter.
Yeah.
Yet they want that things are equal. No, they're not. They can't be equal in some things. Yes, in some things equal. There can be equality. In a lot of things, there's no way to equal things out.
Yeah.
You cannot get a 5'4" 120-pound woman to run a sprint as fast as a 5'4" 120-pound boy.
Yep.
It simply doesn't work, and you cannot fix it. I don't understand the demand for it to still be equal.
Yeah. RK brings up a good point. I can stop the conversation by asking a women's liver why she wants to lower herself to be equal.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay. I'm a little old-fashioned. A little bit.
Yeah. A little bit.
I don't understand. I honestly do not understand why some women get wrapped around the axle because they're put up on a pedestal.
Well, it goes back to the whole opening door for women thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
when I go to cons, I treat the ladies with a great deal of respect.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take off my hat because I was raised right.
Yep. That and the fact your grandmother, my grandmother would come up out of the grave and slap us silly.
And jerk a knot in my ears. I actually had one at LibertyCon look at me squirrely.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was after I took my hat off when I was talking to Cedar, and tipped my hat and going off to a panel, and this woman stopped me and asked why I did that. Yeah. You're in Utah. You don't know why I did that?
Yeah, and Joel says Harrison Bergeron was not an instructional manual. Yeah.
There are a lot of dystopian novels that I hate to tell folks are not instruction manuals.
Yeah. But the thing that I go back to is you know, the whole thing with equality, women in combat. And I had friends that were, through no fault of their own, drug into that battle as female naval officers with the women in combat group that was formed in the Pentagon. And it was interesting because the female PhD who was in charge, who we found out later was a lesbian, made sure that all of the secretaries and yeomen assisting were male. And they had to check in every morning. They had to check out for lunch. They had to check back in after lunch. And they were forced to stay there until 5 o'clock in the evening, even if they had nothing to do. And I had flown back for some meetings in DC, and I took my two friends to lunch. Well, we went to the cafeteria in the annex up on the hill, and we were apparently seen.
Okay.
So they got back to the office, and they were hauled into the PhD's office and questioned as to why they were talking to a male naval officer.
God.
Yeah. So, yeah. The other thing is there is a physical difference in ability.
Trust
Women,
me, I work out at a barbell gym 3 days a week. Every day I see the difference between physical difference between men and women.
yeah. But women cannot do everything men can do physically, weight-wise, performance-wise, anything else. No woman is going to put on a 120-pound pack and go do the job that a man can do. But on the other side of the coin, women have much finer, and I do mean much finer, control.
Their fine motor skills are excellent, and their communication skills leave men in the dust.
Yeah. But we actually ran a test. I was running a test on some equipment out in the Pacific, and we instrumented a P3 to look at how smoothly the aircraft was turned and maneuvered because of what we were doing. And we had both men and women flying the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
When we got the data back, started looking at it, the women by and large were smoother and more accurate in their maneuvers across the entire spectrum. 3 women, 3 men. In all cases, the women were better than the men in maneuvering in the aircraft.
Oh,
Another friend of mine is an astronaut, female astronaut. And she said you could see the same thing in space doing things in the ISS.
Oh, wait till the ladies, now that the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 6.5 Grendel are out, wait till the ladies discover long-range rifle.
Oh, they already have. And they're kicking our ass.
Women will flat smoke check a long range. Once it gets to 1,500 yards, those little darlings, they're gonna kick ass up one side and down the other.
Yeah. And Jonathan has a good point. The Israeli Caracal battalion normally has 1/3 of its female personnel on light duty or limited duty due to injuries.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the gym, there's this squatting.
Yeah.
When you're doing low bar back squats, which use the big muscles in the legs, which are as close to equal as you can get between men and women as the big muscles in the legs.
Yep.
No woman is going to match a guy's upper body strength.
No.
In the legs and the hips, which is what drives the low bar back squat, you get close to parity.
Yeah. I'm
a 54-year-old male who just started weightlifting 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My heavy squat is better for 3 sets of 5 than the gym's current personal record for women's.
Yeah.
I mean, this girl is half my age and has been training her entire life, and her 1 rep personal best is less weight than what I do on Monday.
Yeah. Hey, Sanford, welcome to the conversation. The other thing is they wanted equality in jobs. They wanted equality in living conditions, yada, yada, yada. However, women typically do not get into jobs where there is a higher chance of death.
Because their little darlings are smarter than we are.
Yes, they are. And that was, as a friend of mine said, who was a historian, he said that was one of the things that was going to destroy America, was the focus on equality, because that would break down the nuclear family.
Driving inequality where it actually can exist is dumb to me.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I saw a study a long time ago. It was a bunch of anthropologists were doing what they call a groundbreaking study. This would be in the mid 90s, I think, over what actually fed Pleistocene families and kin groups.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. The study was a long time ago, but they concluded that the male hunter groups were going out for megafauna. They were going for the big things, and they were bringing back, several hundred pounds of meat once a month.
Yeah.
While the ladies were out and were using these little throwing sticks and were bringing squirrels and rabbits.
Yep.
And groundhogs and small things while they're out collecting berries and we're
hunter gatherer,
and we're feeding the providing protein for the tribe on a more regular basis than the guys. The guys were bringing a butt ton of meat once a month.
Yeah.
The ladies were bringing a squirrel in
every day
or a rabbit, along with a basket full of berries.
Yeah. The other thing was that when you look at the hunter-gatherer mentality, and those are significantly different, whether you want to believe it or not, they are different mentalities. Men by nature, by testosterone, whatever you want to call it, in most cases are predisposed to be hunters. Now, you can say what you want, but
I think the human race is predisposed to be hunters.
Well,
I think men, by and large, go for the trophy buck.
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of women hunting, and I enjoy the company of lady hunters and hunters who happen to be female.
Yeah.
Men, by and large, they want the trophy buck. Yeah. They want the biggest rack. Women, yeah, they do. And you can double entendres aside.
What kind of rack? Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
But the ladies want the one that tastes good. You'll see guys, if there's a fat buck with a 10-point rack and 350 pounds on the hoof.
Yeah.
And there's a nice fat doe that's 200 pounds but's been eating berries all.
Yeah.
The guys will whack the buck. The
Yeah.
ladies will whack the doe.
Yep.
The doe tastes better.
Yep.
It's not, the doe isn't full of testosterone and piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
And just tastes better. And you ask her, what, you could have gotten that antler. No, we have to eat this.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah. Sarah brings up a great point. It's this gatherer mentality. That's why women know where everything is in the house.
No kidding.
Yes.
Or the store. The store.
Oh God. Yeah.
Following Rita around the store when she's on a mission is educational.
I will go, if I go to the store and I'm hunting for something, what I'll do is go ask one of the female employees because they know where it is.
I know which aisle it's on, but Rita knows the linear centimeter that it's on.
Yeah.
And just because she's wandering around doesn't mean she doesn't know where everything is. She's just looking for options.
Yeah.
I go in, I set out, I need socks. I go get socks.
And we leave. Pay for them and leave. Yeah.
Rita goes in to get socks. But while she's here, there's other things. Well, Ian needs T-shirts. And then she picks up. Why are we off on this?
Yeah.
Why are we off on this particular subject?
Because we went from the.
All right, we've beaten this one to death.
Yeah. I got to add one. I got to add two though here. One from Jonna. Jordan Peterson does talk about it. It's a very good lecture if you haven't listened to it.
He has several very good lectures.
And Aaron piped in with the analogy of the horse and the rider not being equal, but they have to work together.
Yeah.
And it's more nuanced than a relationship is the one between men and women. Yes, that's true too. Women know where everything is because they moved it and put it someplace. That's true too.
That's
Sanford.
also dead on the money. Baby, where's my flashlight? Oh, I used it to check Mochi's back teeth.
Yeah.
Well, where'd you put it? Made more sense to put it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jonna says, apparently I'm a guy. I go get what I need and get the hell out.
Well, when Rita's on a mission, if she's getting stuff for a party at Jim's, and she's on a mission, she leaves me in the dust.
Yeah.
That little thing, wham, 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 out the door.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. And got another one that broke in this morning.
Yeah, Cedar hauled off and broke me this morning.
I'll just give you part of the lead in that was in the email. Who the hell? Let's start a rhino and hang it upside down.
I meant dart a rhino, but damn
Yeah.
autocorrect.
For science? Oh yeah, science, sure.
Yeah. Apparently, somebody decided to do a study, on whether or not it was better to transport a rhinoceros after you darted it for science on its side or hanging upside down, because you have to do it by chopper because the damn things are 2 tons. So they
And anybody that's smart does not want to be in the airplane with one of them.
no, it might wake up, and that's generally talk about your center of gravity relocating.
Yeah.
So they decided to do a study, and I will guarantee you that it was a bunch of drunk, bored African hunters, researchers, whatever, darted a rhino, hung it upside down to see what would happen, and then later went, "Ooh, that could have been a study."
Not 1, 12.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
I would also like to point out, if you've got kids listening, you might want to put on the headphones unless you want to explain something.
We've already broken that.
Yeah, I'm fixing. Shikari, which is a word for hunter or hunt, is 1 letter away from shabari. So if you want a mental image of a rhinoceros in rope bondage, you're welcome.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about black rhinos in Africa, Ken.
Yeah.
Although the other rhinos, it would be kind of interesting to see what happens there, too.
Yeah, they're having to relocate rhinos, and they've had to since the 70s. Operation Rhino was a fantastic book from the 70s about rhino relocation efforts.
Yeah, Sarah says, sounds like a Far Side cartoon. I don't think he would have drawn that one.
And what they used to do was dart the rhino.
Oh, and Cedar says she's going to cartoon that now.
Of course she is. Anyway, what they used to do was dart the rhino, and then they hook it up to a winch, drag it on the back of a lorry, drive it however many hundreds of miles to its new home, and then
darting it 2 or 3 more times en route just to be sure.
Yeah, which was kind of rough on the rhinos.
Yeah.
But when you didn't dart it again to make sure, it was kind of rough on the truck and the personnel. And then somebody got smart and they said, let's chopper them. So they're darting them, chopping, and then, sling loading them under a chopper. And if they wake up, 100 feet under the chopper, who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, look, your rhino's struggling. It happens.
No. Having been in helicopters carrying sling loads.
Yeah, you're not sling loading, you're right.
No. When things start moving around down there.
All he's doing is pedaling in midair. He's not going anywhere.
No, but they start swinging, and the whole helicopter starts swinging back and forth.
You just drop it and watch the rhino run off.
Yeah.
But they decided that they decided that this was compressing the rhino's breathing structures being slung low under a chopper. So there was alcohol involved. I don't know this for sure, but trust me, there was alcohol involved.
A Dr. Radcliffe and a Dr. Gleed, professor of
an associate professor Whitehorse, and associate professor Glenlivet decided to see what would happen if you hung it upside down by the tootsies from a
crane. which they did 12 times.
And apparently it worked. But trust me, this did not start out as a scientific experiment. It started out as drunken, I dare yous.
Yeah, Cedar, there you go using facts again. They were concerned that a rhino transported upside down would suffer internal damage. However, they found out, yeah, no, not so much. It was marginally, very marginally, and I haven't read the paper, safer.
Can you imagine that rhino? Whack, thud, wakes up under a chopper hanging by the toes.
Yeah, looking up and going,
what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. Of course, I know a few people that have done that once or twice anyway.
I'm wondering if the hanging upside down would work for hippos, because apparently there are some Colombian ones that are causing issues.
Ken says, I saw Marlin get close one time when Jim failed to stuff the anaconda into the sack. Seemed it was very quiet in the boat after Marlin had to do the job. Yeah. That Wild Kingdom was an interesting show to watch as a kid.
I loved Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom. I loved the looks you would occasionally see on Jim's face.
Yes. It's like, what the fuck?
And now my assistant Jim is going to tickle the lion's prostate.
Yeah.
Jim's going, what? I'm going to do what?
Speaking of which, not lion, but leopards. Did you see the video about the guy that in a village that the leopards come in and climb in his hut and sleep with him?
Well, that guy's a moron.
I know. Apparently, they've adopted him because he's warm.
Yeah, until he tastes good.
Yeah, but these are 4 full-grown leopards. They didn't believe.
That's going to end in tears. That's going to end.
Oh, I know it is, but they did not believe he was telling the truth. That the leopards would come in and sleep in his hut.
Okay, show of hands. How many people have house cats?
I don't.
Well, listen. How many people have house cats? Have you ever had your cat haul off and savage you for no good reason?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Peter and Dot have that routinely.
Yeah. You'd be sitting there and all of a sudden the little furry asshole sinks his back legs. Okay. Now scale him up by 200 pounds.
Yeah. But it was funny because they came in and put a CCD camera in there that had night vision capability. And sure enough, 4 leopards come in and lay down next to this guy.
It doesn't get cold enough in Africa to need a hot water bottle.
But it was funny because the 4th one that came in kind of looked and it was like, screw this. It climbs over the other 3 and flops down on the guy.
I'm surprised that didn't start a fight.
And they laid there and went to sleep.
I don't understand why, because leopards are territorial as all hell.
Yeah.
I don't understand why 4 adult leopards, which are territorial as hell, would bunk up together. Normally it would be get the hell out of my territory.
Oh, was it cheetahs, Louise? I thought it was leopards.
Cheetahs is a whole different kettle.
Yeah.
Cheetahs are domesticated. Yeah. Cheetahs are a whole different kettle of fish. Yeah. I can see cheetahs doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, it was an interesting video to watch. I don't know if they imprinted him on him or what.
Yeah, he probably raised him as cubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
Cheetahs were probably domesticated in Egypt, and one of the few cats that I can think of offhand that domesticate easily.
Yeah.
Pretty much they self-domesticate.
No, just freaking no. I do not like cats.
Not a big
I have a cat's tooth still stuck in my hand from breaking up a cat fight, which was stupid. Yeah. See, I agree with you, Sanford. I never understood the fascination with a pet that hates you. True.
Not going there. Not going there.
Speaking of hating people, Biden is apparently up to 40 EOs now.
Only?
Well, I don't know how many he signed today.
Boy, he's setting some records. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Biden, Jim was telling me earlier that Biden's press secretary is requiring that all questions in the news conferences be pre-submitted.
Well, they're not requiring it, but they're requesting it.
I wish that Kaylee McElhaney had gotten that courtesy.
Yeah. Well, the other thing it brings to mind is, this is what happened on the trail, on the campaign trail. Biden never took a straight question. None of his press people did. Everything was pre-done. And the only way that anybody that wasn't on their approved list could get a question in was to yell it as Biden walked out, and he would occasionally turn around and go, huh, what? Yeah.
Has he met a face-to-face with forward leader yet?
I don't think so.
I want a camera to get a picture, to get a shot of that foreign leader's face leaving that meeting.
Oh, yeah. So
it's all about picture telling 1,000 words.
Yeah. And the other thing that I find interesting is the fact that the press secretary does not answer about half the questions.
Oh,
her term is, I'll have to circle back with you on that.
If I hear that one more time.
But we never get to know what the answer is. And again, going back to McElhaney and the previous PAs under Trump, when they got out there, they answered the question.
You might not like the answer.
Yeah, you might not like it, but they answered the question.
You might not listen to the answer, but
yeah. And Ken says, Biden strikes again. Yeah, pretty much.
No kidding. They're going to have to let him off the leash sooner or later, and that's going to be fun.
Oh, that'll be the end of him.
Like I said, the first.
Yeah, Article 25 right there.
Because when he burps, wets his pants, and crosses his eyes.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, like the school teachers are doing in Chicago and a few other places.
Letting their pants across their eyes?
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
Yeah, because they've been told they have to go back to work.
Oh.
And the unions, unions saying, no, we're not going back to work because it's not safe.
Retire.
But yeah. What we need is a Patco incident about now.
Retire. If you're that scared, retire.
Yeah. Oh, I missed that, RK. Kamala had a landmine statement for West Virginia.
What?
I don't know.
We got landmines in West Virginia?
Either that. Well, Kamala said something about landmines. I did not see that presser or whatever the hell it was. Apparently, she never left the White House grounds, but was interviewed by a media type for a TV spot in West Virginia.
Okay.
Without Joe Manchin knowing about it.
This is not a surprise.
No. Mine lands. Oh, okay. She said mine. She was talking about mining lands and said landmines.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, well, I've said worse things.
Yeah.
I've said worse things.
Yeah, she did not inform Manchin ahead of time. Said coal miners could deal with the abandoned landmines.
They probably could.
Yeah.
Not the way you're going to like, because I've seen what happens when bored blue-collar types get retrieved landmines. They tend to pull explosives and then do things with it.
Yeah. Yeah, even though they're not supposed to.
Remember Red Adair and Boots and Coots in Kuwait?
Oh, yeah.
They got bored. Red Adair and Boots and Coots are wildfire. Those of you who don't know, they specialize in putting out
runaway oil wells.
Flaming oil wells. And after Hussein set a whole bunch of oil fields on fire during his retreat, Red Adair and Boots and Coots were brought in for a lot of money to put them out. Well, they've been doing it for combined 200 years.
Yeah. Well, Boots and Coots used to work for Red Adair, so.
Yeah, they snuffed the oil wells and got bored. And I forget which engineering company, an Army engineering company, caught them in jeans, button-down shirts, and work boots in a minefield.
I remember that.
Scuffing their toes to the sand until they found a mine. retrieving the mine and pulling the explosive out of it.
Yeah.
And when asked why, they went reasons.
Yeah. RK, not a single one of them got hurt doing that. They were, the government estimate was it would take 2 years to put out all the oil well fires. Between Adair and Boots and Coots, they had them out in less than 90 days. Now, what they do is they use explosives to put them out.
Yep.
And actually, the slowest part of the process
Is capping the well after you blow it.
was they didn't have enough Christmas trees to cap all the wells.
Yep.
So they got bored. Hey, explosives are expensive, so they were making do with what they had. But you got to give those folks credit. You know, that's
They're crazy.
but they're effective.
No, they're effective.
Yeah, well,
NVTS nuts.
when you take a 55-gallon drum, fill it full of explosives,
C4
and C4. Now, back then it was dynamite.
dynamite.
Wrap it in a couple of wraps of asbestos.
Hose it with water as you're moving it to
Yeah.
the fire.
Hose it with water. Put it on a 50-foot crane from hanging off the front end of a Caterpillar that somebody welded a couple of steel plates to the front and a little bitty window about 4 or 5 inches that they could see through. And they would drive that into the fire. And they wanted it to be 18 inches to 2 feet above the wellhead. And then they would blow it up and it would blow the fire out most of the time. And
It always works the second time.
Yeah.
It usually works first time, but always the second time.
Now, sometimes the wellhead was so
Ganked.
that they had to kind of blow a little bit of the wellhead off.
Right.
But then the next thing they would do is come in. Yes, RK, Hellfighters movie was about that, and Red Adair was in a cameo in it, which
Yes,
everybody that I knew in the business was cracking up over, because basically John Wayne was playing Red Adair.
Yeah, he was.
And that was down in Maracaibo, is where that was supposedly filmed. But the next thing I would do is bring in a Christmas tree. And for those of you that do not know what a Christmas tree is, it's a set of piping that fits down over the wellhead,
Clamps to the pipe.
clamps to the pipe, and once they've clamped it in, and it's made out of brass. So these guys are
non-sparking.
Yeah, it's non-sparking supposedly. So these guys are out there working on something that has been burning for X number of hours, so it's very hot. They're trying to crank this thing down. Once they get it cranked down, they are now covered in oil, gas, what's called drip, and everything else. And then they reach up and start cranking on this valve
To shut off the flow.
which shuts off the flow. And it's a interesting dichotomy of, did I get it tight enough? Can I actually shut this thing down without it blowing off, catching fire, and incinerating me in the process?
There have been several times they didn't clamp the Christmas tree to the standpipe well enough, and when they turned off the flow, it launched the Christmas tree to lower.
Oh, yeah.
Poing! Damn it!
Yeah. Well, and a Christmas tree was actually what was responsible for the BP oil spill down in the Gulf.
Yeah, very bad one.
Well, not only was it bad, it was the wrong size.
Yeah, it was wrong spec all the way around.
Yeah.
And not only was it the wrong size, I think it failed to first go through on quality control.
It did. And it did not do the final clamp.
Yep. And went,
so, yeah. So basically the, engineers, quote unquote, that worked for BP and on that rig basically caused that oil spill by using improper equipment.
Yep. They use the cheap. Now, I don't know this for true, but I'll guarantee you, having been part of the oil industry, they use the cheapest thing they could get.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron says human nature is, if this doesn't go boom on its own, how can we make it go boom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's
what we do. That's what kids do. Boys do, especially.
Well, circling back to SN9 and SN10.
Yeah.
That's 16 stories of kaboom.
Yeah.
That we're going to try and control to get it, to get in the air.
Yeah.
What other species says, I think I'm going to take an explosion and write it.
Yeah. Yeah. But the other fun part was, as a kid, we used to get these chemistry sets
I love the chemistry sets.
that had all kinds of things in it that would go boom. And it also had uranium in it.
Hmm.
And it used to come with, and mine was a metal folding one that had like 60 different chemicals in it.
Oh, I had the full 260 in carved wooden with all the perchlorates and chlorates and permanganates. And then it was part of a series, and there was a cloud chamber.
Yeah.
And it had a little disc of uranium so you could test your cloud chamber.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. But that may explain it much.
But there were actually experiments. I mean, it told you right in the instructions. If you mix this and this, you're going to get an explosion. So here's how you do it safely.
To this day, I remember in that 260 chemical kit, which came in a trunk, the very first test number one, was you mix this, and then you hold your test tube up against a white background. And the yellow-green smoke will be chlorine.
Yes.
So you got an 8-year-old making chlorine gas.
Yep.
No way this could go wrong.
Yeah. And mercury.
Oh, I used to play with mercury all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we used to do that as kids. You know, the
Again,
thermometer gets broken, you pour it out in your hand, play with it.
And watch the little drops.
Now put a dime in it, watch it shine that dime right up.
Yep.
Now, if you break one of those CFC, whatever the hell they are,
compact fluorescent light bulbs.
yeah, it's an international incident. It's literally a chemical spill that, according to the EPA, requires remediation by people in hazmat suits.
Well, that's the thing of it, is there was that case where a woman broke one. She called the EPA, and the EPA lost their ever-loving minds.
Yeah.
And then I think I put it on my blog.
Yeah.
I said, okay, what the hell are you going to do with all of the landfills that are going to be occupied with all these CFLs?
Yeah.
Because it's okay now. I mean, if breaking in your house, breaking one in your house requires this level of stupidity. Yeah. Imagine breaking
EPA Superfund site.
15,000 of them in your average landfill.
Yeah. Yeah. And Louise says, slight exotherm has blown up many a lab. Yep. We blew the windows out of ours in high school. Kind of an oopsie.
I told him not to slam the lid on the desk, but he had to slam the lid, and we lost the windows.
Yeah, and RK, that is true. We are still alive in spite of ourselves. But
some days I wonder. Listen to snap, crackling, and popping when I have to roll out of bed. I sometimes wonder if I'm still alive.
Yeah. Ken says, when I was 8, I was helping my dad with homemade terraforming with diesel fuel and high nitrate fertilizer.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Well, there used to be stump powder.
Yep.
Gotta love stump powder.
Well, we never used that. We just used dynamite.
Well, of course, you could buy stump powder at the grain elevator in Electra, by God, Texas. You couldn't buy dynamite there.
Well, my uncle had a few extra sticks laying around on the ranch.
Or that time my dad launched the tree and the man pig into low Earth orbit using a backpack full of gelignite. Gotta love gelignite. That stuff was so fun. They apparently don't use that stuff anymore.
No.
Pity. I love that stuff.
Grapevine in a mason jar project, RK. Hey, was that a project or was that sneaking around? And Aaron says, still alive, at what cost? Well, what's wrong with you? I asked my old man. He says, it's a long list of answers.
Still alive, missing some of the hearing.
Yeah. Well, Ken, I'll tell you my dynamite story as a kid out on my uncle's ranch. Enrique was the ranch manager, and there was a particular old mesquite stump that my aunt wanted out of the way because it was in the middle of where her garden was going to be. So we got told to go make it go away. So we went out there and dug down underneath it and put about a quarter of a stick, about a quarter of a stick of dynamite off, put a blasting cap in it, stuck it under there, Went over behind the truck, popped it, poof. Still there. All right, try the rest of the stick. Another blasting cap. Boom. Still there. And Enrique started cussing in Spanish. Went over and got 2 sticks and wrapped them together. Went back over there, stuffed it under there. Another blasting cap. Boom. Boom. Still there.
Mesquite stove.
Yeah. So this time he's really cussing in Spanish and throwing in maybe a couple other languages because some of it I'd never heard. 3 sticks, typed them together. Blasting cap. Second blasting cap. Mumbling on it to himself. We got around behind a pickup truck. Kaboom! And I looked up and I watched the cedar stump go over my head, or mesquite stump go over my head and land behind the pickup truck. And Enrique turned about white as a sheet, which is pretty good for a Hispanic who was, shall we say, very much darkened by being outside all the time. Turned white as a sheet, looked at me and goes, "We know tell nothing." We got in the truck, went over, picked the stump up, put it in the back of the truck, drove back to the house, and he went in, pulled his hat off, and he says, "Ms. B," he says, "we have removed stump." And she looked at him and went, "Thank you." Nothing was ever said.
I wondered more about the crater.
I don't know. I had to go back, so I don't know what happened on that. Got a feeling maybe a dump truck was involved because it was a pretty good crater.
Army has, or used to, I don't know if they still do, have these charges you can use to make a field expedient foxhole.
Yeah.
And it, drive it in the ground, you blow it, and you get this. It's basically a crater. But
Yeah, it's basically a shaped charge, a little shaped charge.
Yeah, but you can get out of the way of unpleasantness. Well, dear old Dad got a hold of a box full of them, and we had something that he called a West African mole. Don't know what it was, but something was going through my mother's truck garden underground.
Yeah.
And eating everything. I mean, it ate everything. It even ate the bottom of the wood peg she was using to mark what was in there. Yeah, it gnawed right through those.
That was a gopher. That wasn't a mole.
Yeah, it was in West Africa. Apparently there aren't any gophers, but this gopher had a bone to its nose and was going to town. So my dad had been out there trying to get this bloody gopher, and nothing worked. He tried flooding the hole, nothing. He tried gassing the hole, nothing. And finally, he got out and he found out where the hole was, and he put 4 of these foxhole makers along the path of the hole. And then we figured it was gnawing at night. So Dad set an alarm for midnight. Midnight, I hear "Kalam!" And Dad goes, "Well, that did it." And he goes back to bed quite happily. And the next morning, Mother goes out there and goes, "Oh my God!" And her truck garden was a trench 6 feet deep, about 4 feet wide, and 20 feet long.
Yeah.
But by God, the gopher disappeared.
Yeah. Ken says he put a southern longleaf yellow pine through the roof of the smokehouse. Yes. The answer is not as many as you can make fit. Yeah, that's kind of a true story, Ken.
Again, 40 pounds of jelly night in a knapsack.
Yeah. RK says, Daddy didn't like dynamite. We pulled a mesquite out with a tractor and change. Well, considering how long it would have taken to drive an old 1-lung John Deere tractor down there,
well,
Enrique decided, screw this, we're going to use dynamite.
I have bad memories of a steel cable that the workers were using to pull a baobab stump out of the ground with a cat bulldozer.
Yeah.
And steel cable, and cable broke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was, woo, no.
Yeah.
Thank little gods and fishies that nobody died, but it sheared the top of the of the safety cage on that cat right off.
Yeah.
I don't like pulling. I'm not a big fan of pulling anything on the ground anymore. I don't want to see somebody cut in half.
Well, I saw what happens on a carrier when the the retaining cable breaks.
Right.
That's ugly. The softwood missile on a mission of destruction. Yeah, there is that. Yeah, and the things we did. The kids today, I mean, my kids have heard a couple of the stories and kind of looked at me and went, "Daddy, were you crazy?" I said, "Yeah, no, we were kids. This was..."
So yes.
Yeah. Well, it was in the 60s. I mean, we didn't wear helmets.
Until the male child is about 25, 27 years old, they are legally crazy.
Yeah. But we didn't wear helmets.
So,
We had BB guns and 22s.
and baby wars and
Yeah.
bottle rocket wars.
Yeah.
And anybody that's watched a horde of teenage boys having bottle rocket wars and still thinks the little bug snipes are sane.
This is true.
I've never seen a girl child yet get involved in a bottle rocket war, which I think is a great deal about the distaff side of the species.
Yes, they're much smarter than we are. They may get off in the corner and comment, but they're not going to get in the middle of it.
I remember my sister watching us, me and my brother, leaping off the garage with towels around our necks for Superman capes.
Yeah.
And then she went and got mom.
Yeah. The Rapture says, I was born in the wrong damn decade and probably the wrong damn part of the country. Roman candle wars. Yeah, that was another one, John.
Oh, God, yes.
The problem with the Roman candles was the occasion would hit the wrong thing and go, you had to put a fire out in the middle of the battle.
Oh, that happened all the time.
Yeah.
The problem with Roman candles was the estimating the time to the next shot.
Yeah.
Because if you were rushing from position to position and you got your timing off,
Yeah.
you caught a flaming Roman candle ball midships.
Yeah. The other thing was you could bounce those suckers down a dirt road
Oh,
a
you can
long way.
ricochet the heck out of them.
Fun times. Anyway, we survived it. And
More or less intact.
yeah, the other thing was we were free range children. I mean, I'm 10 years old. Me and 3 friends are out with our 22s, single shot 22s, wandering through 4 miles of woods from my house down to where the airport was. That was a half to 3/4 of a mile wide. And that's where we played.
Be back when the streetlights come on.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have street lights, so it was be back by dark.
Right. Well, that's.
Or as one of WAG said, if you're seeing lightning bugs, you need to be home.
When we come back to Electra, Texas, that 1 month out of the year, that was mom. Get out! Come
Yeah.
on, I want you back here when the streetlights come on.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what today's parents would do because I'd get up at 7, I'd watch cartoons, and mom would throw me out of the house by 9:30.
Yeah.
And I'd come back by whatever time dark was. And I would have been all over hell and half of creation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I had a bicycle.
Yep.
And a BB gun. Chris had a bicycle and a BB gun, and we just went.
Hell, we used to strap the 22s on the, make sure it was unloaded, but you just tie the 22 on the handlebars of the bike with twine and go ride somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Nerf wars and super soaker fights. Yeah, Raptor, you were in the wrong generation.
Nerf wars?
Yeah. Nerf guns.
I know.
Not fun.
By God, we had yard darts, and we were glad to have them.
Yard darts, yeah, with points on them. I remember those too. Ken says jumped out of the hayloft and pile of hay and missed the hay for it. Oh yeah, that's
discovered as a teenage boy that anybody that refers to connubial relations as a roll in the hay has never actually
no kidding
tried to do it in hay.
You get scratched, stuck, poked. Yeah, no comment.
It was fun, but pulling hay out of my knees for 2 days afterwards wasn't all that great.
Yeah, and RK agrees with me. John is complaining, well, we didn't have lightning bugs where I was. Never had dirt bomb fights. We usually,
Oh yeah. If you arc a dirt clod up high enough, you
Yeah.
get there's blast radius.
and Jonna says, hey, it's pointy and sharp and sand is right out. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah. You get sand in places that you don't think you can get sand.
Sand was. I mean, I didn't mind sand, but the young ladies I had intentions upon did.
Yeah. Oh yes. Those were the days. Yeah. Sanford innocent my ass.
Who's innocent?
Sanford said he was.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever.
Sex on the beach must be forever a drink. Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
anybody who named it Sex on a Beach never actually had sex on a beach.
Yeah. Yeah. Sanford said poison ivy. If you don't know how to recognize that 3-leaf plant, you deserved what you got.
I remember my entire team bailing out of a Black Hawk at a landing zone in Fort Benning, coming on a hover, and half of my team just disappeared. Apparently, the landing zone is full of pits, and the pits were camouflaged by being full of poison ivy.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I had an entire recon team on profile for a month.
And Sanford has to get the last word. Sex on the beach is fine. Use an RV.
Oh, RV.
Yeah.
I thought you said Army. It's like, okay, okay.
Louise is going, dirt balls led to dirt balls and rocks in them, and then led to rocks, which led to bandages and stitches.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah, Jonathan. And I've seen that happen too. The professional homeless wander into the large patch of poison ivy and use the bathroom.
Oh, well, there's a reason why one of the first, if not the first class in outdoor survival
Yeah.
is which leaf to pick if you have to
Yes.
go number 2.
I remember in high school, we went out and had a party at the lake, and we borrowed a couple of boats from people. And we were out at one of the ramps that didn't have facilities. And a couple of the girls decided they had to go.
Oh, poor things.
And they didn't want any help. They didn't want us to show them where to go safely. Okay, fine, whatever. And about a half an hour later, they were itchy.
Oh, I bet they were.
Yeah, they had gotten in poison ivy.
Boy Scouts. The
Yeah.
very first orienteering classes I had was Scoutmaster taking us out and saying, "Do not ever use this leaf.
Yeah.
Use these."
Yeah, Raptor, we kind of borrowed them. A couple of the parents actually knew we were taking their boats, and maybe one or two didn't. Yeah, Sanford. Anybody that's been in the military has no modesty left. I don't care what military you were in. You have no modesty
I've
left.
got modesty. It's in my desk at home.
Yeah. Aaron, you're lucky. You think you're immune, but
Everybody, okay.
Yeah.
Apparently, everybody's immune the first time.
Yeah.
And then apparently, after the first exposure, your body goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
that stuff," and then things go squishy.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yep.
if she is actually honestly got immune, she's lucky.
Yeah.
That stuff is just.
Yeah, John says, I work at a theater. Modesty is a handicap. Yep. And if you're in the military, you don't have the option.
If I've had to go number 2 in front of 12 of my closest friends,
You do it.
yeah, I mean, if you got that or explode, your
Yeah.
choice.
Well, hell, you go on a ship or you go in. There's one YouTube video that talks about berthing on a World War II destroyer. You go find it, look at it. You'll understand why nobody in the Navy has any modesty. I remember a couple of years ago, we had something going on here at the house, and some people were coming over, and I thought they were coming over later. And Peter and Alma showed up at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Of course they did.
And I come stomping out with my towel because I was in the middle of my shower and opened the door and went, You two, come on in. I'm going back to my damn shower. And I just walked. And apparently Alma was sitting there going, huh? And Peter went, yeah, it's military.
Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah.
It's half the time I'm stomping around without the towels.
Yeah. Yeah, Johnny, you get the pretty men, but yeah, they're questionable in most cases from some conversations I remember.
I don't like guys.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like guys in that way.
Yeah, Cedar, your dad's lucky if he is actually immune.
Women just, they're soft and smooth and smell good.
Yeah.
Guys don't.
No,
Any of the three.
no. Especially not if you've been up on the flight deck for 18 or 20 hours.
Smell like a goat's ass.
Yeah. And the ship's on water hours, so you don't get a shower for another 24 to 36 hours.
Women are soft and smooth and they smell nice.
Yeah. It's about as bad as that tour of the jail.
Oh God. I thought that one little thing was gonna yark.
Yeah. It stinks in here. I'm going, looking. Hell, it don't stink. You've never been on a Navy ship, have you? And plus, it's not moving. Looks like we've wasted another hour of your time, folks.
Holy gods, we have. We got 15 people watching. Are you serious?
Yeah, 16, 15. For those who are asking questions about FoolsCon, we're looking at dates. The person I was supposed to talk to was not there today. I'm going to try to contact her tomorrow. And we're looking at one of the last 2 weekends in April.
We're going to need a good hard count on who knows you're going to be there. Because the hall we used last time was perfect for the amount of people we have. Yeah. If we get any more folks, we're going to have to find one of the bigger places out there.
Yeah.
So we need good hard numbers on who's definitely going to be there.
Yes, Shauna, I'm working on it. She's going, please get the date nailed down. Flights are cheap. I'm working on it. Give me a break here, woman. Damn. I'm going to hard cap it at 100. I can't afford a larger space than that. We'll see how many we get. Yeah. Anyway.
If we get 100, we're going to need a slightly bigger space.
Yeah. I'll put it up both on Facebook in a private group, and I'm going to probably make a private group over on MeWe also. So anyway, that's the current status. Sarah, I'm not sure we're going to do this a third time.
Well, she's already asked about it. We haven't had a second one yet. Who's asking about a third one?
Sarah.
Why is she asking about a third one?
Because she's in Germany or in Poland.
Okay.
And she can't get back.
No.
They'll be back in the States next year.
Oh.
Understood, Sanford. Well, anyway.
That's why we get Jonna moved here and we dump it in her lap.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? My bad.
Yeah. Retract that last statement. Anyway, folks, have as good a week as you can. And
don't watch the news. It
just
gives you heartburn.
Stay off the news.
It gives you heartburn.
And remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Be safe.
And Jonna says, dream on, ain't happening. We'll talk. See y'all Thursday at the normal time, at noon on Thursday.
Noon Thursday.
Bye.